Coming up, very small satellites are doing very big science.
This is an experiment to recreate the conditions in the very early stages of our solar system and understand the very first steps of planet formation.
And an experiment on the International Space Station that may help astronauts get to Mars and beyond.
If you're going to have any type of long-term space travel, you're going to need plants for oxygen production and for food.
Exploring the frontiers of science, probing cutting-edge technologies, seeking answers to the big questions. Welcome to SciTech Central. Exploring outer space is generally a very expensive proposition, but a new generation of tiny satellites is opening up the heavens to academic teams, small businesses, even students. And it all began with a school assignment.
Today, a new moon is in the sky, a 23-inch metal sphere placed in orbit by a Russian rocket.
October 4th, 1957, a small metal sphere that does no more than emit a beep ushers in the space age and quickly leads to technological wonders in communications, science, national defense, and much more. Typically, satellites are large, very complex, and very expensive spacecraft. The cost to develop, design, build, test, launch, and maintain one can be hundreds of millions of dollars. But is it possible to democratize access to space? Enter CubeSats.
A CubeSat is basically a tiny spacecraft, a tiny satellite.
They come in units of cubes that are 10 centimeters on a side in either 1, 2, 3, or 6 units.
The idea for CubeSats originated with an academic exercise.
Dr. Bob Twiggs at Stanford University in the late 90s walked into a classroom with a Beanie Baby box and asked his students for your final project to develop a spacecraft within this box that could do some type of science on orbit. And from that, it just took off. People started building more and more of them, and so the standard kind of stuck.
Of course, democratizing space means getting things into orbit cheaply. For CubeSats, that means hitchhiking a ride.